This is the Draft Season Podcast. We are back with some more player breakdowns for this upcoming NBA draft. We are talking about no other than the Davion Mitchell, national champion this year, Baylor. I'm here always with my boy Sean 5K. Talk to him.
Couldn't wait to break down Davion, man. We got the boy, we got the homie Scott Drew in the building today. Drew, what it do, bro?
Yeah, what's good, everybody? Let's get right into it, though, bro. I'm eager to talk about some Davion.
Well, yeah, man. Let's talk about Davion, man, because this kid had, he's one of, like, you want to call him a late bloomer or somebody. He jumped up draft boards and really put together a complete season, I would say, of just two-way impact. And honestly, I don't think I enjoyed watching any other prospects film more than Davion. He was just an absolute delight for me to watch, and he brought me a lot of, it was just fun. So I mean, Raz, let's start with you. Where you at on Davion and what he brings to the court?
So he's one of the few players where I think he will be successful no matter where he goes to. His handle is very explosive. He makes people dance. He's able to get in and wiggle out of tight spots, just being a playmaker and a scorer. I do think, due to his size and lack of length, he may get looked at by these scouts as somebody who's a little bit of a tweener. Tweeners from time to time get underdrafted just because people are afraid and don't know how to utilize them. But he's a bucket, and he shouldn't be, if he's on your draft board, hesitate to take.
How about you, Drew?
For me, I just don't understand why so much of draft Twitter has turned on Davion, because, obviously we understand he's undersized, and ideally you want to use him at the 2, and he's a little older for a prospect. I understand all of these things, but when you turn on the tape, you see that elite first step. Even though he's not a vertical finisher, he's very adept at finishing with either hand under the rim. Does a good job at creating contact as well. So he's a 3-level scorer. Defensively, he's, I think he can come in, be an impact defender from day one. So to me, I think he should be a top 10 pick in a draft class that once you get past that top 4, there's not a lot of primary creators. He's somebody that I can see as one as early as next year.
Yeah, and I think butter is the pull-up jump shot. And for as much as, like you said, Drew, he got knocked for, being a late developer and being one of the older guys in this class. But for whatever you want to talk about, we know how the pull-up jump shot is the big difference when we're talking about how, especially for any type of guard and even the wing type of prospects, it just unlocks that next, that next level for you. He shot a ridiculous, I believe it was 43% on off the dribble 3-point shooters, or just off the dribble jump shots in the half court settings. So, that number one, that development, and, a lot of people, whether you buy it or not, but for me, I do buy the pull-up jump shot and I buy the shot in general. Overall, yeah, he shot 44% from 3 this year on a high volume of self-creation shots. So, that's just something that I do think when we're talking about the first step. The first step is explosive, and he's lightning quick. And even though he's not a vertical athlete, his east to west and his ability to go side to side, his wiggle is extremely. It's hard to really contain him, and it's really hard to stay in front of him. So I do believe that type of speed, I do think that's going to play in the NBA from day one. And even when we talk about it, he's extremely comfortable with his jump shot, mixing in different dribble moves and keeping himself balanced into his shot. And even to talk about his defensive IQ for a second, this Oklahoma State game, for example, is a great, just a litmus of what Davion is going to bring to the table. We talk about Cade Cunningham already. We know, the physical's there, 6'8", and Davion's probably 6'2" on a good day in shoes, but he's one of those dudes that fought for every inch, and he really does, his just mentality on the defensive end is something that, when we're talking about positionless basketball, his fit, I think he can play next to any type of guard, or if you have, a big wing initiator type, I don't really believe that's going to be. I really don't believe that's going to be an issue for him When you talk about, he's not going to be a negative on defense. He's actually going to be. I've seen people say he has all defense upside. I think some of the length might make that.
It depends if he's going to be a point of attack defender. I think if that's the role he's allowed to play, he's going to excel. But in order to play that role, he's going to have to play with a point guard that is a plus-size guy like Markelle Fultz. You know what I'm saying? You can't play him with another small guard, because then his defensive potential kind of gets capped.
Yeah, and that's really what it is. And just going back to the length, that could really, like, sometimes a lot of times, just from my eye, he would, like, even when he would be in great position, like sometimes having that crazy wingspan, guys are just gonna shoot over him, and that could be an issue when we're talking about just like really standing out from others of just the best defenders in the league. He's only 6 foot in shoes, so it's not really optimal height for either guard spot. But I do think the athleticism does. I think it's gonna play on the next level. Another thing that I was extremely impressed with from Davion is I do think he's pretty instinctive, and he showed a lot of nifty passes, live dribble passes, stuff that I think people underestimate just how quick passing lanes close in general.
He's not the type of playmaker that he's constantly just looking to set others up like a traditional floor general, but he's very adept at, if like the defense is closing out on him, or if he sees somebody else cutting, like, he's gonna make the right pass. So he's a sharp passer, but I wouldn't necessarily call him like a visionary passer.
I mean, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. When you're that much of a bucket, I think also having the wherewithal to make just the right pass instead of overlook, because you get into these guards.
He always makes the right pass.
And you're getting, sometimes you get into it with these guards where they're trying to overpass. If they feel that they're taking too much of the possession or too much of the shots. Like, he's one of those guys where he's rolling, he's gonna keep rolling, but if you're open, you're gonna get the route. Go ahead, Drew.
Now you go, keep going.
I think like another thing just about his defensive ability. I do think he showed like great closeout speed, which I do think just really goes to show you like just his like the type of athlete we're talking about. And when we're talking about like reaction time and cutting off like lanes and knowing how to fill the lane, a lot of it is uncanny stuff and stuff that you probably really can't teach. And we talk about defensive development with a lot of guards, but you can get a good idea like when you watch guys who's really willing to do the dirty work and do the unsexy stuff. And Davion, like, he's not one of those guys who's afraid.
He's gonna lead the league in deflection.
Yeah, like he's not afraid. He's not afraid to scrap it up, and you can really tell he's somebody who like he played on like black courts growing up. You can tell he's not afraid to dig in and he gets in a good stance. And the length that he does have, he uses really effectively. Even going back to the passing for a second, he averaged 5.5 assists per game, which I do think that's a pretty good sign. I think for somebody,
especially because he only shared the point guard duties with Butler.
Yeah, with Jared Butler. Yeah.
I feel like I can kind of see his role. I can't see a world where we're not saying a year from now, Davion Mitchell isn't a really good player. Like, I just feel like as soon as he adapts to the pro game, it's just going to be so easy and comfortable for him.
So, Raz, what would be your biggest concern, or just when we talk about finding the proper fit for him at the next level? Like, because like Drew does said, the pull-up defense the pull-up 3-point shooting, combine that with a very a functional dribble to where he's going to be able to mix guys up, and he's going to be able, the drive and kick game is going to be there for him. Defenses are going to have to react to when he's going to have you got to know what he's doing, you got to close out properly. Before him, what would be your biggest question for him? Is it just a buying the shot? Like, I know a lot of people look at the free throw shooting. I believe he shot 64%, which not a great sign, but where are you at? What would be your biggest concern for him, though?
For me, is finishing around the rim as the players get get stronger and taller and bigger and longer posts. I think first, I think he's not the most explosive person. Like vertically at least. He's very quick, but like getting up at the rim and at the cup, and he's not really like, his length is, it's good, it's average, for his size. Like he's not someone whose arms are scratching their knees. So I think just as you're getting into the trees, as they will be in the NBA with some of these elite shot blockers and help defenders, some of that lack of vertical athleticism may hinder his finishing ability.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like he's gonna have to get really adept at using like certain angles in his body, because he's not that, just like people always give him the Donovan Mitchell comparison, but me and Sean touched on earlier, Donovan Mitchell had a 6'10" wingspan and he got like dunk contests.
Yeah, Donovan Mitchell gets up. It's a very different situation between them.
Very different.
Jump shots are similar, but yeah, I see it with the jump shot. Like some of the stuff he does off the dribble is kind of uncanny. Like I see exactly where people come up with that. But yeah, athletically, Donovan is an outlier in his own right. So that is going to be different for him. But yeah, man, I think like even just looking at his shot profile for a moment, 35% of his shots came with the rim. 60% of his threes were unassisted, and I even think like that's another one to where like he was creating his own shot, and that's a part of the reason why I do think even at the next level, you can put him next to another guy who can create for others and themselves. I do think that's also gonna make his just his transition to playing next to NBA ball handlers like even more, or just an easier route for him. Something that I'm not really even worried about. To which I don't know how you can make the age thing, and we get to these older prospects, and I can understand a team looking at, I understand the age curve and why guys look at it like that. But if we're just talking about where the drop off in talent in this draft really is, there's probably the glut begins probably around like 4 or 5, however you want to look at it. But once we just get into Davion, man, I struggle to find the scenario where he's not making an impact on winning basketball. Either way, even go back to another thing that I would like to see him improve, 31% on floaters. If he can improve on that, and he's gonna, some of that is just pace for him. I would say he was always going 1,000 miles per hour, which is like, he's pretty damn fast. So I can understand why you could kind of get in front of yourself, with some of his stuff. And yeah, this Kansas State game, man, I think it was just. This is one of my favorite Davion games, man, because he was legitimately electric. And even when we talk about his scoring upside, I do think like we can talk about it to where he is somebody to like his impact. He's going to be able to impact the game when he's not scoring. He's not somebody who really was taking off possessions. And like when we talk about how high his scoring upside here is, he's not really somebody who he doesn't strike me as the guy who's gonna force shots up either. Like he's pretty good with, if he's playing and playing within the flow of the offense. It's like, this is one of the games where I'm like shit, man. And like if he's playing, like if he takes some of these like next leaps in the NBA, that's a star. Like with some of the shit he showed in this game. So that's kind of my thing for him. But yeah, Raz, I guess just final thoughts, or what would be your favorite fit for him inside of the lottery? I guess we could end on that.
Inside of the lottery. Well, as everyone knows, we are recording on, what is this, the 27th, midnight. But trade just happened where the Grizzlies have moved up to 10. That's a spot I could see him at. People have been talking about him going as high as 7. I believe that is the Warriors pick. That's interesting. Playing with so much.
I don't see it.
You don't see it being interesting, or you don't see it happening?
I mean, of course it's interesting. I think the Warriors want to win. Like Steve Kerr is a maniac. So like I feel like Steve Kerr sees fun and he's just like, I don't want none of that. So I mean,
I mean, I don't know. I think the issue with the Warriors is going to be that they are on a smaller. Their clock is ticking a lot faster than a lot of these other teams, just to maximize what they have left of that dynasty. Let's call it what it was. But I mean,
if he's their third guard, that would be amazing because he's not.
I mean,
he's
after
not,
they fumbled the LaMelo
set, the backcourt is set, and I think they're pretty high on Jordan Poole. Make of that what you want.
Should
but hey man, make of that what you want. But yeah, so I don't really. What other fits would you like in the lottery though?
That's tough. I mean, obviously, I want to say like maybe the I don't know, bro. Like
the Orlando Magic.
Magic sounds great, but that's high. You don't think that's
Why?
high?
They're 5 and 8. How is that high? I'm thinking the consistent best player in the draft. You get him at 8. You can get. I think the dream combo.
About the 5th pick, but yeah, the 8th is cool. I mean, it doesn't really matter. You would expect to be able to pick him with one of those picks, regardless.
You can get him and Scotty Barnes, and like you have like elite complementary skill sets. But also, like, you gotta think Fultz complements a lot of what you want to do with Mitchell, because Fultz could defend twos. Fultz just wants to feed others. He's cool being more of the table setter. And then you got Mitchell, who could just pretty much be your primary initiator, your half-court offense. If you go create something. Like, why not them? Because, like, Isaac's still more defensive-minded. Like, their front court's pretty wide open.
I mean, I think one team that I think works in my head is the Pacers. I don't know. I like him next to Brogdon.
What about LeVert?
I mean, LeVert. I mean, how tall is LeVert? How tall is LeVert?
LeVert's 6'8". LeVert's 6'8".
Yeah. I'm bugging on that.
Then shit, move him to the 3. Like, I mean, it doesn't matter.
LeVert to the 3. Yeah, that works.
But I mean, they still got Warren, I guess, too. I mean, they'll have to figure
There's a
out
6'6" for the record.
Mobile. LeVert is 6'6".
Yeah.
I like it, man. I think Davion goes to the Pacers. That would him and Brogdon together sounds like, because Brogdon's gonna do everything else.
Yeah, Davion, it's gonna be interesting to see where he goes on draft night. Let us know where you guys think Davion fits best in the comments. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the draft season YouTube page, and we got so much more content coming to you guys soon. We out of here, man.